Hello again, folks. Barry here with Barry's 8-track and classic car radio repair. And today's demonstration's on an almost completed unit. This time, I thought I'd share with you guys some of the weird little things I have to do sometimes due to parts availability issues. This is an 8-track player out of a Rolls-Royce. It's made by Voxon, and it goes under the Radio Mobile name. Just like the radio that goes with this car, they're both called Radio Mobile. Not quite sure who actually makes the radio, probably Radio Mobile, but the tape deck is made by Voxon. And just a couple little things here. One thing that's very common with these thinner units is that you can't find motors that will work with them. Any motor that'll fit in that smallest space is most likely not going to be the correct RPM and all that other cool weird jazz. So quite often I have to resort to some pretty outlandish measures to get a new motor to go in there. For one thing, I really prefer to install adjustable speed motors, and even if I did have the exact replacement for this original motor, I'd probably still rather go back with an adjustable speed motor, simply because no matter how good a motor is, it can drift in speed over time, sometimes intolerably. It'd be way too slow or way too fast. So I really prefer to go back in with an adjustable speed motor. And as you can see, the original motor, here's the original motor, and it mounted from the bottom. As you can see, it mounted directly on that bottom part of the chassis to bring the pulley to the correct height. Well, my adjustable speed motors are a little bit longer than the originals, and on this unit it was actually necessary simply because we do not have, you're never going to find an exact replacement motor for these obscure thin units. So we got to do what we got to do. And so what I've done is I have actually cut a hole. This is the mounting plate for the original motor. You can see the 3 screw holes or how the motor originally mounted, and I just cut a hole in that plate and made a bracket so that I can get my adjustable speed motor in there. And then the new motor is going to stick out about ½ an inch from the bottom. I have cleared it with the customer that he has clearance to allow for that. And as long as he mounts the unit from behind, naturally there won't be any problems with the motor interfering with anything. And then just one more little addendum to this procedure, of course, is this is the bottom plate that goes over the unit, and needless to say, I had to cut a hole in the bottom plate so that motor would slip through that hole so we can get everything back together correctly. So now that I've shot my face off about what all I had to do to this thing to get it working again, let's go ahead and run it. I have had it operating for a couple hours with just an empty cartridge so that it's not putting wear on the capstan. Just wanted to run the motor for a couple hours, make sure it didn't get too warm, which it doesn't. Everything's cool. So now let's go ahead and get this unit hooked up, get some electricity going through it, and play a couple tapes, make sure everything's okay before we put it all back together. And this is a special occasion that I'm sharing with you guys. I normally don't get too deeply into what I do to the inside of the unit, but in this particular case, I thought it would help to sell my services, because this is a very much an above and beyond the Call of Duty type operation. So here we go. We got her pretty well. Everything's all hooked up. Let's go ahead and pop a tape in there and energize the unit. We're going to pop a tape in. Got some temptations as usual.
I'm seeking a job that I never did bad. Depressed and downhearted, I took the cloud. I'm doing fine.
Sorry, that might have been a little bit loud. I'm going to switch tracks a bunch of times.
I'm feeling sad. Words could never explain. I just wish it would rain. Oh, let it go. Oh, baby, I'm losing you. You try hard. Next to you, baby. I can't get next to you. Yeah. It's a dog-eat-dog world, that ain't no lie. Ain't no lie. Ain't even
Okay, so as you guys can see, the whole thing is working just fine. All the functions are working properly, and now she's ready to go back. And I'm keeping this video kind of short because I'm going to demonstrate this unit all put back together as well when I finish the entire job. And so now that the 8-track's all ready to go, all I got to do is put it back together, give it one more final test. The radio is about maybe an hour and a half away from completion. The customer's having a conversion done on it. And incidentally, these units come from the Rolls-Royce owner, my friend Kyle in Texas, who's sent me quite a bit of work. Thank you, Kyle, for all the work that you send me. And I try to match your generosity with top quality workmanship. So there's what we got there. And so I can get on with the rest of the job now. If I can find my face, I will bid you guys a fond farewell. This is Barry with Barry's 8-Track and Classic Car Radio Repair, showing off a relatively rare Rolls-Royce system that contains an 8-track player. Needless to say, if you have a 8-track player either for home or for car use in need of service, you can reach me directly at 928-533-9666. On his radio, I'm doing a modern conversion. His radio is already AM/FM, but we're doing a modern conversion to improve the reception and the lock-in range. And so, with any luck, this entire job will be completed, probably sometime late this evening, and then I'll be able to demonstrate the equipment all put back together and operating properly. My website is in the description below. If you have not yet been to my website, please visit my website. It'll contain everything you ever wanted to know about the technical side of the 8-track function. Thank you very much for watching, listening. We'll see you next time.